Hello and welcome to for.
Start again, and we're ready to start.
Hello and welcome to For the Love of Oats. Today we're very lucky to be joined by the king of podcasts, Jack Thornburn.
Oh,
that's my crown.
The king of podcasts.
Where's that come from?
Yeah,
Well, I see you on every podcast. There's an appearance from you on everyone's podcast at least once. At least once.
I've done a fair few, to be fair. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course we have Vicky, as usual.
As per the other half of the love of oats. I don't know whether on the oats or whether on the love.
I'm a bit disappointed that I wasn't invited on this sooner as well. With a name like For the Love of Oats, I thought I'd have been one of the first.
Do you know what?
Well,
I thought we got there eventually, so
we could have like a specific episode one that's specific to you. That's like for the love of protein, meat, oats, and build-a-mate brownies.
Quite a few things could have, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was quite good.
But like we did speak about you in the first episode. To be fair,
yeah, that's fine. Now I'll let you off.
Talking about you and your oats. You know, you had a special mention. So today is the hottest day ever in the history of ever. I'm sweating just talking. Vicky's a Cyprus girl, so this is probably like just another day for Vic.
This is lovely.
But for us pasty boys, like I feel like I'm melting. I'm red. I'm a red person.
You are. You're almost as red as Jack's t-shirt.
Pretty much.
Well, vest. That's the reason why I'm wearing a vest. I wouldn't normally wear one. Okay, I'm not being like, oh, look at me, which is why I've hidden. But it is too hot. If I was in a t-shirt, I'd be sweating. So.
The thing is, right? You say that it's too hot, but if it was raining and cold, we'd be moaning about that.
I'm not moaning that it's hot. I don't mean it's too hot. I like it, but
good.
I think,
for example, today it allowed me to sort of go and see things that I haven't, because I've got some lovely scenery near me, but because of the weather, I never go. And also it's not quite the same looking out on the view when it's pouring down with rain and stuff like that, you know. So, I'm not complaining at all. It also allowed me to like go and see some of my mates yesterday that I haven't seen for a while. We wouldn't have done that in the rain, so yeah.
Nice. All right, so let's have a little bit of a catch-up then, eh? So what's been going on in the life of Mr. Jack Thornburn? Because everybody knows who you are. You don't need an introduction. It's Jack Thornburn. He gets his legs out on Instagram quite a lot. About right?
That's quite an accurate reflection. But to be honest, in the past, lockdown's been 13 weeks. Not an awful lot has changed. I've been quite fortunate in the fact that I've had access to facilities for the whole time. Even though I did invest in quite a bit of home kit, it's still in the boxes at the moment, so I haven't had to open it yet. But I've been very fortunate with a few facilities I've had access to, and then just work-wise. I've just come to the end of my PGCE, so teacher training course.
Congratulations.
There was a bit of complication with that, so it's mostly placement-based. But obviously for the past, 3 months now, we haven't been able to complete it within the placement environment because obviously schools aren't in. So it was up in arms how we were going to finish it, but it's all sorted now. We've managed to. It was done more on like evidence-based stuff, so you had to put together like a portfolio and stuff like that. So, but that's all completed. I signed it. Everything got signed off last Thursday, a week ago today actually. So it's fully qualified now, but I just need to find a job. So, and anyone that knows sort of teacher jobs, especially PE jobs, aren't exactly easy to find. But I'm positive that I'll get one. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. No, congratulations. That's obviously a good feat for you to finish off in the lockdown as well. It must be really satisfying actually to finish something like that as well after you've been working so hard for us.
Yeah, it was at the start of the year we were told how hard the year ahead was. I do believe that lockdown potentially made it slightly easier, because what we had to do to complete the year probably wasn't as hard as what we would have had to have done if we were within the placement setting. So it might have actually been a bit of a blessing. A lot of people panicked about it, but I think if anything, it helped us out a little bit. So yeah, no, it's a relief. I think it's nearly 6 years of university done.
Ugh.
Wow.
But people say, wow, it took you 6 years to become a teacher. And no, because I did an undergrad and then a master's in a completely different field. So that was like the strength and conditioning side of it. And then realized I wanted to go down the teaching route. So that's sort of another one then, which is why it's 6 years. But
so now with uni out the way, do you have a little bit more free time at the moment?
Yeah, most of my free time at the moment is, well, so obviously it's only been just over a week, but it's mostly just like applying for jobs now, really.
I'm just slinking off for a moment whilst you
go on. Off you go.
I'm slinking.
But yeah, so it's at the moment it's just applying for jobs. So like, for example, I've done 2 today. There are quite a few out there, especially at the moment. Now is the time that jobs come up for the sort of jobs in September. So it's just applying for jobs. I have taken on a few more clients for the online work now because I have a bit more free time. Because with a lot of clients, like, the hardest part is setting them up and the first few like weeks and months. Once you're in a groove of it, updates aren't too hard. I can manage them on weekends, no issues. So I mean, it's quite good that I've had the time now, especially because a few people are now thinking, oh, well, gyms are reopening. I need to get in shape for it, or which shouldn't really be the case, but I can't really. You can't really say anything, I can't complain with that. But so with regards to yourself, Jack, obviously you normally PT, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Well, I do a bit of both. I work in a gym. I PT out the gym that I work in, and also online coach as well. So, with this happening, I've just been online coaching whilst the gyms are closed. I'm hoping it does go the way where everyone wants a PT, and everybody wants to get into shape once the gyms are open, which I can imagine it going that way, to be fair, because I think a lot of people during this time have just really sacked it off and just thought, gyms aren't open, I'm just going to eat shit and do nothing.
Yeah, I think what happened with a lot of people is they thought it was only going to be for a few weeks, like a month at most. So a lot of them used it as a time to potentially relax a little bit of downtime, eat what they wanted, and then that 2 weeks or so turned into a month, and then there was a bit of a realization that potentially, it's going to be a lot longer than they thought. Because I know people that didn't buy any kit because they didn't think it was going to be an issue. They thought they'd just rest for a few weeks, and then it suddenly dawned on them, a lot longer than we thought. But hopefully we're sort of coming to the final hurdle. I know for both of yourselves, you might potentially be a couple of weeks before Wales. I don't know, because we seem to be slightly behind yourselves. But then obviously you had the announcement a couple of days ago that it's not going as planned before. So I don't know. We could potentially be on the same sort of time scale. I don't know.
Have you not had an announcement yet? In regards,
we have ours on Thursday.
Oh right, okay.
I think that we haven't had. Yeah, I don't think we've. No, we did have one this week actually. We did, but a lot of ours is like, so we sort of go off yours, but not. We have our own. Basically, the Welsh government can't be seen to be doing exactly what England are doing. That's really what it is. But, hopefully, because I know schools are going back shortly, limited, but so hopefully the gyms will be shortly. But like I said, for 12 weeks I was fortunate to have like a private facility. At the moment, I now basically have, well, it's not even a private, like it's a full-blown gym that it's open. You know how you saw those like stories in America a few months back where owners had just literally said, I don't care anymore. This is my livelihood. Essentially, that's what they've done. Like he's basically just said, I'm bored of it, and he's opened shop. Which was sort of what I put on my story the other day. Like, how long was it going to take before gym owners finally just say enough's enough? You know?
Yeah.
Other people. I'm not saying they should. I'm not sort of condoning it, but how long can they be like singled out from other people and stuff? You know, they must be incredibly frustrated, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, how other businesses have been allowed to open, which, you know, the main premise behind why they shut gyms was the contamination of like equipment and passing it on through touching material and stuff like that. But that's been proven to be incorrect. Like, so it's actually very hard to spread the virus via contact of equipment and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's not even as if their justification is valid at the moment. But
yeah, true. In my opinion, I don't think there's anything that they can say that will fully justify that decision, to be fair.
I bet when people listen to this podcast, they don't expect me to be talking politics, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't expecting to be talking politics, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm bored.
What the thing is, I'm not a political guy. I never speak politics, but this is the gym, right?
Yeah. As soon as it affects the gym,
yeah. I'm a politician as soon as it affects the gym. Honestly. Yeah, it's only a matter of time. Like, some people, has that guy who's running the gym that you're going at the moment, has he had any backfire from doing that?
Last Sunday, I was in there. There were 3 others in the gym at the time. The owners weren't there, so no one was manning the gym. And they've got a CCTV monitor behind the desk, and you can see outside the gym. I was stood behind the leg press hiding. I had my bags packed because the police had a riot van outside. They were parked outside. And I was stood there, my bag packed. I had the fire exit behind me, ready, propped open. If they'd come in, I was gone. But they didn't even come in. They didn't even come in. They know it's open. Supposedly they've been there. I wasn't there when they have been, but, you know, I think for a lot of, it's hard on them as well, because I think a lot of policemen and a lot of people involved in like the law side of it, they understand that it's not right.
Yeah.
But it's their job. They don't decide what the rules are. They're just told what to do and they uphold it. You know, I know, like, in the previous facility I was training at, there was a policeman training there. So, you know, a lot of them know it's not how it should be done, but they've got to do it. So I think with this scenario, I think they know we're in there, but it's almost like they're sort of turning a blind eye, or the fact that it's not worth their time to do anything. Which is what I was saying to some people online as well. Like, how many people have you heard of being fined for opening their business? Or
I
haven't heard of anyone.
Well, yeah, I've heard people getting talons off. To be fair,
but there's a difference between a telling off and £1,000 fine.
Oh yeah,
which is what they were throwing about.
Everyone's been fined. I suppose, like, people aren't really sharing that, but I don't know anyone who's like been properly fined. I know that the gym that I'm training at, the guy's like super cautious. Like, he's only letting staff train, and they have to train 2 at a time, and you know, you can't post anything. You can't like, you've got to have the shutters down, and you know, he's being very, very cautious, because I think he is a little bit afraid of that being the case, because the gym is relatively new. It's been open for just about a year, and for like 4 months just over 3 months of that, it's been closed. And he's really hoping that, you know, he doesn't get fucked over or.
Yeah, I think the only reason why this gym's open with me is it's not exactly like, it's not a big time, well kitted out gym. It's almost actually more of a boxing gym than anything. So it's got a boxing area, but then it's also got a gym on the other side. But the gym's decently kitted out, but it's very old stuff. It's literally like Arnie-esque. So it's very old piece of kit. There's plenty of boxers in there, so you see the odd shadow boxer in the gym and stuff. But So you got to put up with that. But I can't complain. Like I said, very fortunate. As we speak, I've just had a message from the gym that I train at in Pontypridd, so I presume that's an update, but I can't read it. So, yeah.
All right. Okay. So, like, the fate is on your phone and you can't read it.
That happened to me the other day, actually. I was on a podcast. No, I was doing an Instagram live, and I'd applied for a job the day before. No, I had an interview the day before, and a girl on my course in university had also applied for it. And we're on a group chat amongst our whole course, and I'm on an Instagram live, and then all of a sudden, all these messages come up at the top of my screen congratulating the girl on getting the job.
Gutted.
So I knew mid Instagram live that I'd not got the job, and I had to like hold it together. And the girl actually it was Chloe Pickford. She commented afterwards saying, "Jack, you sort of changed your tune halfway through that. Are you all right?" And I was like, "Yeah." I found out I didn't get a job midway through it, but
yeah.
That's
Oh
funny.
shit. Oh shit. Fuck.
However, do you want to go on to more bodybuilding related topics? Vicky's fallen asleep.
I was a little bit. It's just, do you know what? I'm just so bored of all of like
the same shit, isn't it? All the time.
No,
it's on the news. It's the same thing.
And it's just like, that's what I put a post up on Instagram the other day, just basically saying, do you know what? Deep down, okay, we kind of knew that the gyms weren't going to open, but what the fuck are we going to do about it? Do you really just want to sit down and mope and cry into a corner and just like shake your fist at Boris and yeah, okay, fine, shake it. Have a little bit of a stamp, throw your dummy out of the pram, but then get on with your next day. You've still got plans for the remainder of the week, your entire life, and I know that we are bodybuilders, I know that we're into fitness, and I know that we really do love it and all the rest of it, and Jack is literally, you know, he's bodybuilding. He does the bodybuilding and nothing else. But there is still more to your life than a bodybuilder. Do you know what I mean? There is still so much more. It's like I learned this very, very early on in my PT career, my fitness career, because somebody actually said to me, "You are a bodybuilder. There's nothing more about you. You are a bodybuilder." And I took that really quite offensively because the thing is like, well, yeah, no, I like bodybuilding. I really enjoy it, and I would be sad if I had to not do it. But I'm also a mum. I'm also a wife. I'm also a really good fucking cook. And I'm a very sarcastic individual. So that does not all entail bodybuilding.
No.
So the fact that every single person on Instagram or on the socials or something along those lines was saying, you know, the gyms aren't opening and bastards, and we can go and drink and we can go and get fat on burgers and stuff like that, but we can't go and lift any iron. You know, okay, yeah, that's fine. I agree with that. But have you actually considered all of the other people out there as well who own pubs? Like little mum and dad pubs, not even like big chains, but mum and dad pubs who have had that pub in their family for generations, and then all of a sudden
now they're over the moon. Yeah,
exactly.
It's great.
Yeah, you know, we can get the beer tables out again and have parties and stuff like that. That is bringing back it's bringing back economical finances to the country. So it is actually going to be very beneficial for that element of the country. So speaking from a non-selfish point of view, yes, all right, the gyms are going to open in a couple of weeks. If it's not a couple of weeks, it's going to be open again in 4 weeks' time or in 6 weeks' time.
You see,
there is still so much more that you can do without a gym. You
see, like, apparently they've spoken about opening mid-July, right? Yeah. And that gives 2 weeks to see how, you know, obviously if the cases rise or drop from the pubs being open and the restaurants and that. So the fate is really on the behavior or what happens on these things opening, really. And this is what is a little bit frustrating, because it's like, you know, say if people go out to the pubs and they get rowdy and, you know, whatever, they completely discard social distancing or whatever. It could be that the people like gym owners are the ones that like have to suffer because of that.
Definitely, and it will spread. We will have a second wave, of course we will, because a lot more people are going to go outside. A lot more people are going to be in close proximity, because if they are going to have music in pubs, I don't know about you, it might just be me being an old fart or whatever like that, but I don't like shouting in pubs. I like having a conversation, and unless you go to somewhere like Wetherspoons where there is no music in whatsoever, you normally have to kind of like shout anyway when you're 2 inches apart rather than being 2 meters apart. So people are going to be closer in proximity. And if you have gone to a Wetherspoons where there's no music, the place is so fucking overcrowded that you're not going to get near the 2 meter mark anyway. Mm-hmm. So I totally agree in terms of like all of the gym owners. I've got some really amazing friends all over the world who own their own gyms. And unfortunately, they've had to shut up shop because the new boundaries that they've put and the red tape that they've put in place, as in the government, to open it and still say social distancing is this, social distancing is that, they were only going to be able to have like 4 people in the gym at any one point. And they had to give them certain blocks to train in. So like it was an hour to 90 minutes. They're powerlifters, so, you know, they can't train in an hour. You know, that's like one lift. So they had 90-minute blocks. Then they had to have a full scale clean down, like decontamination of everything for half an hour. So even if he opened up from 6 in the morning until 10 at night, he'd still only get probably about 30 people through the doors any one day. And it's like I said, it's just not financially viable. And this is a really well-known gym in Canada. And he had to shut up shop, which is absolutely soul destroying. Yeah. So, you know, but it's the same with pubs. It's the same with restaurant chains. It's the same. I don't know if you know about Chiquitos. You know, the Mexican.
Yeah, they've gone under, have they? Or?
Yeah.
The majority of them have gone under. I don't know if all of them have gone under or not, but they've had to shut a crap load of their own shops. So it's affecting absolutely everybody.
I quite like Chiquitos as well.
Yeah, they did some really nice tacos. Nice. I am a taco fiend. I like tacos.
I love a good burrito.
Burrito from them was good.
Good. Burritos. Now I'm hungry. And I've just had an email from the English Cheesecake Company. That's hilarious. Anyway, right, moving swiftly on. How is your diet looking? Because I know that I'm eating like a monstrous pig, and I know that Jack is dieting. But what about you, Mr. Thornburn? What's going on with yourself?
So I have been in a surplus since about November time. However, I'm still increasing food from that. So I don't know whether, as I've been increasing, my performance has increased. So the demand's been there. Yeah. Because I seem to be reaching sort of like a point when then I'll start to potentially harden up at that point. So I need to increase food again. Because at the moment, sort of the goal is, because obviously I want to compete next year, 2020. So I said to myself like a month or so ago, I can either try and just stay in a surplus the whole time, or push a little bit harder and then do a little tidy up before another push again before the diet. And I thought it would probably be better if I push a bit harder to then pull back and go again, because realistically, if I prolonged the surplus for, because what, it would be another 7 or so months, you're not really going to be in the best position. You know, you'll both know what I'm talking about. Like if you stay in a surplus for a long time, the sort of pumps aren't the same. You don't feel as energized. You're not in the best position to grow. Granted, you'll grow because you're in a surplus and you're progressing lifts, but you could be doing it in a better sort of fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how we got for me. I got to a point.
That's the same for yourself, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I got to a point where like my fitness was horrible, absolutely horrible. Like I was doing sets and I was absolutely gassing out and my sessions just took the piss. Like it was about like 2.5 hour sessions. You what?
A quick one then.
Yeah, quick one. Yeah, you are in the gym for a long time, Jack.
Sometimes like, you know, it'd be a bit longer, but a lot of it was like I don't have super high volume, and that's what's the issue is. Was my appetite was down, very, very down, and I just felt like it was affecting performance and everything. And obviously I was looking a bit fat as well, so you know I just thought, and like me and AJ just we basically came to the same conclusion, like we can't really push any further. If we do, it's just going to make things worse. So this is like my first mini cut, because previous off seasons I just kept pushing. I've been the weight that I am before, but I was fat as fuck, and that was a lot fucking harder to get off being fat.
You were also natty though at that point, though, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You can push the sort of higher body fats. It'll keep off the body fat a bit more as well. You might get a nice rebound when you come off your mini cut then as well, which would be nice. How long are you planning on doing it for?
About 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay, so nothing really, yeah.
Nothing crazy, but my calories are around about like maybe a little bit lower than they were on prep.
Yeah, that's what I did. I did that as well. Yeah, because you can afford to be a bit more severe with your deficit because you've got more body fat on you.
Yeah.
Like if you're dieting for 4 to 6 weeks, preserving muscle is not an issue. You're not going to lose muscle in that time. And like with the heat being as it is, Jack, that might actually benefit you from an appetite perspective.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because obviously when it's hot outside, quite often your appetite goes. So you're probably.
I was wondering why you were eating oats with a baby spoon.
Oh, it's not a baby spoon. It's a big spoon. I've got
a big spoon. It's a big man.
Hand.
Big man.
But
he must be in like some severe deficit if he's eating oats with a baby spoon again, because
I've never done that. See, I've never done the small spoon thing.
I had a favorite spoon on prep. I actually named it as well. I actually went a bit mental on prep, and I can imagine like my.
What's he called then?
You what?
What's he called then? Come on.
Oh, reliable. You know.
Oh, reliable.
Reliable. You know, it was with me throughout my whole prep. You know, my sidekick. My oats just took the piss to make as well. About an hour to make because there was that much water in them. I used to radiate them in the microwave just so to get them a little bit of thickness, and then it used to be that boiling. I used to just have to leave them there for about 10-15 minutes, and it was like, yeah, it took up a large majority of my night to make these oats, but that's all I could think about. So it was time well spent.
Crazy. The shit that we do on prep. The thing is, the shit that we do anyway. Jack, what was Mr. Thornburn, Jack? What is like the most stupidest thing that you can remember doing? Not in prep, but just actually in your everyday. And you know when you just finish something, and you shake your head, and you're just like, "What the fuck did I just do that for?" And yet you do it again.
I don't know.
I had mine yesterday.
Well, how about this one? So I have to do my pictures on a Sunday because I used to work with the Galsies, coaching wise, and I'd have to get my pictures in. And I remember it's not a bit crude. It's not crude really, but my parents had gone away. This was years ago, so this was 2017, and I had to get my pictures done for them. It was quite close to the show, and I had no one to take them for me. I didn't think of just trying to prop it up, because even if I propped it up, it wouldn't be at the same angle that they always are and stuff. And I'd brought a girl back the day before. First time I'd ever like sort of properly met her and stuff. And then I had to wake her up in the morning because I went out of the house at like 4 to do cardio, came back and I woke her up and I was like, "Can you take my pictures for me, please?" So I had to stand there in my skimps, putting all the poses. She did a good job though, so to be fair to her, pat on the back for that. But that's the only thing I can think of really. Or actually another one, it revolves oats as well. I started a new job working as a PT in a gym, and it was my first day there. I was quite deep into prep as well. I was mixing my oats up. I just cooked them in the sort of staff kitchen, and one of the members of staff walked in. She wasn't a young woman. She was about in her 40s, and she wasn't that well liked there. But she came in and she saw me eating, She leant right the way over and said, "Oh, what have you got then?" Grabbed the spoon from the side and went to dig into it.
Yeah.
I let her hand so hard. I literally slapped her hand. I was like, "What are you doing?" And there was everyone was in the staff room as well. And this was like my first sort of few days. So, and the shock on her face as well. But yeah, that was quite an awkward silence after that. But I don't know what she thought she was doing, really.
No,
that's rude. That is just rude, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't understand people who do that. Like, okay, you know, maybe normal people can share the food, but like,
Joey doesn't share food.
yeah,
I've never shared food.
I've had it in college where like I'm eating my food, I'm dying on prep, and people are like, "Oh, can I try that?" I'm like, "No."
And the comment of like, "Oh, what have you got today? What have you got today?"
Oh yeah.
And when I was in retail, I used to get it all the time. One of the managers used to say, "Oh, what have you got today? What have you got today?" So funny enough, the same thing I had yesterday, day before that, and also, oh yeah, and last year as well, same thing I had then.
Yeah, literally. I really do be like that.
But yeah, so they'd be my two stories.
I had one of those moments yesterday. I don't know if you saw it on Instagram or what have you, but the things that we put ourselves through as bodybuilders or fitness freaks or even endurance athletes or strongmen or whatever like that, sometimes it beggars belief about what we do and why we do it. And people just say, "What are you doing that for?" I mean, I'm doing this stupid, insane challenge, which I am starting to think is a really fucking stupid idea. And I am seriously starting to think that it's a really, really stupid fucking idea. Yesterday, in the insane heat, I had to do some prolonged intervals, right? So I had to basically get my heart rate up to about 155 to 160 and keep it there for 750 meters on the rower. Now, I don't know if you've ever managed to get your heart rate up to 160. Probably in like, you know, a mad-ass Widowmaker leg press set.
I've done 190 with your Himbine.
Yeah, with your Himbine. Right, this is on a rower. And when you can get your heart rate up to 160, it's not that hard. It's maintaining it there for a full 750 meters, which took me about 3 minutes, just over 3 minutes to do. And I had to do 6 intervals of these and only have 3 minutes break in between. Holy shit. On the 5th interval, I swear to God, I vomited a little bit in my mouth. And with your limb length as well, you're not exactly optimal rowing height, are you? No way. I am like the most inefficient rower ever. Yeah. I was not built for rowing or anything like that.
No, you are. You're built to sit at the front and go row.
Yeah, exactly. With the big megaphone. Come on, you bastards. Yeah, I'm really good at dictating rowing, but doing it myself, it's a complete inefficient type thing. But I was sat there and I'm like, that's it. I'm done. The floor was looking appealing. I just wanted to lie in it. And I was, you know, when you stop sweating because everything is being put into maintaining your heart and making sure that you stay alive. I stopped sweating within the 3 minutes that I was actually rowing. But the minute you stopped rowing, that was it. I just exploded with perspiration and just sat there dripping and, you know, contemplating my life. And yet, do you know what? I still did the last interval. I still did it. And it was just like, why do we do these things?
But you'd have never forgiven yourself, would you, if you hadn't have done it? That's the point.
I think the feeling after is the motive, because like if you hadn't have done it, like I know that's what drives me through is like the pure guilt that I think that drives me with a lot of things. Like I've never felt that feeling because if I'm meant to do something, I'll do it. Like, I can't imagine hopping off the Stairmaster 5 minutes early. No. I would never live that down. And I think that's one of the reasons why, like, when I compete, I don't really care where I place. I know that may sound strange, but I know when I'm on stage, I have literally done everything. Yeah. I couldn't have done anything. Like, so how can you not be pleased with what you present if you've done everything? Exactly.
I think that's what a lot of people need. As long as you've done everything, you can hold your head up high regardless of where you place, you know?
For sure. Exactly. It's a lot of mental fortitude at the end of the day, isn't it? You've got to push through that mental boundary. I think that's quite a nice little subject to kind of crack on to. Jack, just obviously like making it aware about the little time symbol that's going on here. We've got less than a minute.
Shit. Right. Okay. Let's stop this recording and then start another one.
I think that would be a good idea.
Okay. All right. So part 2 will be coming soon. So we're back. The time ran out on the Zoom meeting because we have the poor edition.
Yeah, because Jack hasn't got a job. The other Jack's on furlough.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're all pretty shit. But yeah, picking up where we left off. Where did we leave off? I can't even remember the last thing that we talked about.
Stupid things we do.
No one actually knows what we're talking about.
Well, no, yeah, because you were talking about your rowing challenge.
That's it. And
then we were talking about sort of the guilt driving our preps.
That's it. So it was more along the lines of like mental fortitude and that kind of thing. So
the guilt for not being able to do it.
The mental fortitude. So there was a couple of questions. We'll get on to some questions that we can do in a minute. But one of the questions that I got a couple of days ago was about why is it that some of my powerlifting clients have got physiques like bodybuilders? Now, in my personal opinion, they don't, but they can get shredded. They obviously, when we cut them down to make weight in a certain weight category and that kind of thing, they've been lifting heavy shit for a really long time. Because of that, they can come down, they can have a bodybuilder-esque physique, but they don't look like bodybuilders, in my opinion. Most of the time, especially with women, it's down to their lower limbs. Their lower limbs just cannot get into condition the way that they do, and they haven't got the kind of shapes that they do. So it was more along the lines of the type of training that you do to achieve your goals, right? So the type of training that I'm doing at the moment is a bit different than bodybuilding because I've had to include a lot of endurance elements into it. Now, has my body changed in the way that it looks because I'm doing all of that endurance training? No, it hasn't. And in fact, I've actually made a hell of a lot more improvements in terms of muscularity, in terms of muscle density, and I am bigger because I'm still doing bodybuilding training as well as endurance training. So I'm concurrently training. But in your opinion then, and I'll just put it out to both of you, obviously, I'm going to ask you the same question. If somebody came to you and saying that they were a powerlifter, but they wanted to have a physique as a bodybuilder, how would you approach them? What would you say to you?
Who's go first?
Okay, so within a powerlifting perspective, most of the time what they're focused on is the ability to move a load from A to B, okay? So that involves the recruitment of as many muscles as they can to find the sort of shortest path for the bar to move, etc. And they're just focused on the sort of power that a muscle can produce. So they're not worried about the size of the muscle or whatever. So one of the reasons why bodybuilders look the way they do, especially enhanced, is the other hypertrophy that you get. So obviously you've got sarcoplasmic hypertrophy and myofibrillar. So sarcoplasmic is what you get with a bit more higher rep, the cellular swelling side of it. So when you get the sort of balloony pumped up look, you'll notice most powerlifters aren't bubbly in their appearance. They're very dense. Their muscles very dense. They might not be. So if they tense their bicep, for example, it wouldn't have a big bubbly head. It would just be thick. So for you to achieve that sort of look, you've got to train at the sort of the higher rep ranges and do a bit more of the pumpy stuff. So potentially that could be something, because obviously they're not training at the higher rep ranges. So that would be the first thing. And then obviously you change their training to almost be the opposite of what they've been doing. So they try and make things as easy as possible. So they try and make the bench press as easy as possible by finding the correct. So they recruit as many muscles as they can for the bench press. They try to bring their shoulders, their triceps, everything into it, even their back. Whereas if you're looking at it from a bodybuilding perspective, you want to almost try and make it as hard as you can for yourself. So you want to put it all on the chest. You want to potentially put yourself at in a position that's going to make it harder for you. That may sound stupid, but I know, for example, Scott Stevenson worded it like bodybuilders try and fail as soon as they can. I know a lot of people think that that's not what you should do because everyone's trying to PR, but if you can fail as soon as you can, you're more efficient in what you do. So if you reach failure sooner, you're not wasting as much energy, you're probably targeting that muscle a lot more than you're not bringing other things in. If you can fail sooner, you're a lot more efficient. So that, because as a powerlifter, they just be looking at trying to get as much out. And that's sort of what people have got into now as well. And everyone's, I know I'm guilty of it myself, everyone's trying to lift more than they were before, but potentially they could be doing it in a better way by actually trying to fail as soon as they can and put it on target muscle, for example. So potentially that could be two things that they do differently, maybe. Obviously, their endurance is going to need to go up a little bit because they're doing more than, say, 5 reps. I know, obviously, the powerlifters do auxiliary work as well, but potentially they could be doing a little bit more of that. And often that's sort of given a little bit, with some, it's given a bit more of an afterthought. You know, like I've seen them having a little chat while they do their bicep kills. So they some of them do, you know what I mean? But because the main goal, if they've got their main stuff done, they're pretty happy with that. But so maybe placing a little bit more focus on those things then.
Yeah.
Cool. How about you, Jack?
So I took the words out of my mouth. I was actually going to say everything that you just said. Really
amazing.
Yeah.
Anything additional to add on to this?
But what you see is a lot of powerlifters who do become bodybuilders bring absolutely really dense muscle to the stage, and do you know what? It sort of proves that there's something in that training that is very beneficial into bodybuilding.
Like, do you follow Ben Pollock? PhD deadlift.
I don't, but I don't follow him. No. But
when you're on Instagram next, type in PhD deadlift, because he's transitioned from more of a powerlifting background. He's now doing, I think he's doing a prep now. And the muscle he has is, because now he's got lean, it just looks out. It looks class. Like, but it's going back to what I said. He has no sort of bubbly muscle though, but you can tell it's just like hard granite sort of muscle.
Yeah. And it's almost a unique look, because not a lot of bodybuilders obviously won't have been doing that training for that period of time. A good example is someone who competed last year with the UKDFBA. I think his name is Manuel. Yeah. When he steps on stage, people were like, "Holy shit! How is that?
Who is that?
Muscle." I'll get a photo.
If you go onto Instagram and put on Scream Emmanuel.
I'm trying to get a photo.
I know. Yeah, of course I know.
Yeah, he was at the UKDFBA.
Yeah, he's got a very distinct look to him. Was his condition slightly off?
Yeah,
the thing is, his condition, he could not get any leaner. The lines in his ass were ridiculous.
Okay.
The thing with him, and this is exactly what the point I was trying to make, I again did it on my story yesterday because somebody asked me the question. The problem is with going from a powerlifting background to a bodybuilding background, you have got all of that thickness. You have got a lot more density. You haven't got the definition. So also he was so big at one point in his peak of his powerlifting career. He was a big guy. And the thing is that he's only like 5'7". So he's not tall, but he carried in fact, I think he's smaller than that. But he carried a lot of mass because he was a heavyweight powerlifter. So to try and get all of that mass then shredded down to be a bodybuilding prep, and this was a long bodybuilding prep that he did, the lines in his glutes and the thickness that he had, he couldn't get any leaner if he tried.
Yeah.
You know, he got as lean as he possibly could. He wasn't inside out, don't get me wrong, but in terms of everything that he went through throughout that prep, and he went through some hard shit, you know, and even after that, walking off stage, it was a bad time for him walking off stage. But you see shredded glutes, he had shredded glutes. You know, he probably could have got a little bit leaner, but in terms of the density that he carried, he didn't look... He looked like a bodybuilder, but he didn't look like a bodybuilder. Do you get what I mean by that?
I think there's something to be said for, if you've spent years of your life pushing food, being very heavy, you're not going to transition within a year to looking like a polished bodybuilder.
No. I think
the skin and your body needs time to, like, I always find that, say if I prep for 16 weeks for my first show, I won't really get much leaner come the finals, which is like another 16 weeks after that. I won't be much leaner, but I'll look a hell of a lot leaner, because what has happened is your body's become accustomed to being at that body fat, and the skin will start to become like shrink wrapped, and it will be a lot tighter. So it's like if you're very overweight and you diet down, you might get all the way down to the body fat percentage of someone that looks inside out, but you won't look the same because your body's not accustomed to looking that way. So for him, potentially like a couple of years of bodybuilding preps, or just not being the same weight that he was, would potentially benefit him a lot. Yeah, which links back to what you said, Vicky. I think for powerlifters, if they were looking to transition over, it would probably take them a little bit of time, doing a couple of preps maybe, for that to look the same way.
I think one of the biggest things that people need to take on board is the thing that you've got to train within your goals. You've got to train for what your goal is going to be. You know, you cannot train like a powerlifter or a strongman if you want to look like a bodybuilder. You literally just have to look at the athletes themselves. Look at the strongmen. Look at the giants strongmen. They don't look like bodybuilders. They look like big, hench, 6.5 foot tall, hairy guys.
Apart from Marius Podjanowski, but he was just like an anomaly.
That's it. But,
but even he wouldn't place at a bodybuilding show.
No, he was too blocky, but he was just very lean for how strong he was.
Yeah.
But this is almost like a newer type thing, because back in the day, the strongmen, they were just big. You know, they were big, they were muscular because they were like mass moves mass, you know, and then all of a sudden they figured out that like too much mass is negative mass, and that's actually pulling my performance down. So a lot of them shredded up a little bit more, you know, and then all of a sudden...
And also a bit more conscious of health.
And more conscious of health as well. And the thing is with strongmen, I mean, I program a lot of strongmen and women in terms of their nutritional things, but you've got to look at what they metabolize. You've got to look at how they digest. You've got to look at what they oxidize primarily in the exercises that they are doing in terms of any kind of strength work, or, you know, the aerobic capacity, the work that they do. A lot of people that don't think that strongmen do cardio. Fucking hell, they do a lot of cardio. Yeah. They do a lot of conditioning. They've got to run with a 230 kilo yoke on their back. Yeah. That's conditioning for anybody.
I've seen Eddie do hit it at strength when he was going for that world's strongest man, because one of his biggest things was his cardio, because he needed it, because after the event he was gassed. He needed oxygen, like he was absolutely gassed up. And you need when you're pulling planes on your back, you need some cardiovascular fitness for sure.
Oh, totally. You know, and pushing things up hills and running with logs, and, you know, putting Atlas stones on top of towers and things like that. You're going to need some form of aerobic capacity. That's
something he implemented, because he was a brilliant static strongman. He could do things like log presses. He could do things like squats, deadlifts, brilliant. But anything, you know, that required some element of aerobics, like, you know, putting Atlas stones on stuff and pulling stuff. That was his downfall. And when he fixed that, he got the title.
Yeah, he's amazing. I mean, I think the same thing happens with bodybuilders as well. Bodybuilders in their off season don't want to do any cardio. They don't want to do any conditioning, and it's like, why? You're actually detrimenting yourself a lot by not doing cardio in the off season, because cardio increases aerobic capacity, increases muscle mass.
Yeah.
You know, that is science, I'm afraid, you know, and we can put the link in below this podcast so you can have a read of it, because I've got all of the studies. But yeah, actually talking about, no, it's all right. I'll get onto that another time. That'll be a subject for another podcast. But yeah, what the whole reason what I'm saying about this is that you need to train within your realm of what you want to aim for. So
Absolutely.
I'm aiming for this stupid things that I'm doing, which includes powerlifting, but it also includes endurance work. So that's how I am training, because I want to nail that challenge. You know, I want to do well at doing both of those things. Now, I'm not cutting out my bodybuilding stuff, because I've also got photo shoots that are happening throughout this entire time period. So I can't be big and I can't, you know, be laxed in terms of my muscularity. But what I have found is that, just like you were saying there, Jack, you keep on pushing more food and your body weight isn't changing. Well, I'm pushing more food, but yeah, I'm losing body weight. But it's because my endurance, because I've got to row like 70,000 meters, Jesus Christ, at the end of this whole thing, I need to be able to prolong my aerobic capacity and row for longer. So each and every week, I'm extending my cardio because I'm adding on another 2,500 meters onto my row.
Yeah, so your output's going up by the week.
Yeah. Exactly. So I've just got to keep on topping up my food stores to match my expenditure. And again, that's what people are realistically not taking into account, that they're eating more food and like, I don't get it, I'm still eating more food and I'm not gaining weight. And it's like, yeah, well, you're eating more, but your energy expenditure is going up. So because of that, you're still putting yourself into a maintenance or even just a little bit of a deficit, but they don't realize it. So all of these things do play a big picture, but you need to be able to train for what your goals are. If you want to be a bodybuilder, train like a bodybuilder. If you want to be a strong
and this is the thing. I've had clients come to me. They're like, I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to be this. I'm like, do you want to be very good at them all? You can't. You know, if you want to be very good at, you need to pick one that you want to be very good at it, and then we could train. Like I've had someone saying, you know, I want to be a boxer, I want to be a powerlifter, and I want to be a bodybuilder. I'm like, okay, you could be average at all of them, I suppose, if you want, but you know, what's the point? You're just gonna you're gonna be training seriously hard to be average. Is that really what you want?
Some people want to be average.
Okay, if you're genetically just awesome, like, but the average person, you know, like you said, needs to be training for what they're trying to do. Like, I know, like, you've almost got to put all your eggs in one basket, I suppose. Like, I know I want to be at the top of my game in bodybuilding, so I'm not then going to pursue anything else other than bodybuilding. And you know, and there's a lot of athletes that will struggle with this because they like multiple sports. I know Phil Heath is a good example because he liked basketball. He was very good at basketball. He also was very good at bodybuilding. He was better at bodybuilding, so he chose bodybuilding. He couldn't have done both and be great at both. It just wouldn't have worked. He wouldn't have been.
Yeah. I mean, some people are just kind of happy being that hybrid and being an average hybrid, you know, so not being the top of their game in everything, but just liking to be average. So like Jack's beard, for example, that is average and he's quite happy with it.
Jack Richardson here.
Yeah, well, obviously that's who I'm talking about.
Thank you.
I'm just jealous because I don't have a beard. I had to shave mine off today. It was getting a bit out of control. But that'd be the trend and test.
I reckon you should.
Moving on. Right, so we have been speaking for about an hour right now. So have you got a couple of questions that you want to give over, Jack? Just for the last few minutes.
They're not brilliant. Like,
are there any bot questions that are just from
what, like?
God knows who? Hey, hope you're having a good day.
I've just
slide into my DM.
Hey, can we collab?
Yeah. Like there's always, I've had the question, views on pubs opening gyms, but that was answered straight away pretty much.
There's half hour of the conversation yet.
Yeah. So if you had planned to compete this year, Jack, would you have still done it or would you have pulled out?
Firstly, I'm very glad I didn't decide to compete this year because I did debate it. And However, if I had planned to, I would have stuck to it purely, well, firstly, just through being stubborn. I don't think I could have started a prep and then just not gone through with it.
Yeah.
You know, realistically, I feel that shows are still going to go on. There should still be, well, they propose that, obviously we're talking from the BNBF and UKDFBA perspective here. I feel that they will still go on. So if you've got a show to perform on, makes no difference at all. I think it would be slightly disappointing because I would have liked to have done more than one show or two shows in the season. So from that perspective, it would have been slightly frustrating that you're limited to only a couple. But I certainly would have probably carried on really. I probably would have started my prep later. I probably would have nipped it in the bud and then started again. But no, I think I'm just quite lucky that I hadn't decided to prep this year. Because it would have been a bit.
It is. It's a bit iffy, and I could, this is why, like, I can't imagine how like someone like AJ is feeling. With just the uncertainty of it all. But I suppose
I'll add in that it's been. Obviously, I was looking at it from my perspective, and I didn't think. Obviously, I've had access to a gym.
Yeah.
If I hadn't had access to a gym, I don't know. Obviously, I purchased a lot of equipment before things went downhill, so I probably could have got in a pretty good block of training because I have a bar, a rack, a bench, 200 Ks worth of weight, so I could have got everything done really. But it certainly wouldn't have been optimal, so I don't know. If you're talking about from another person's perspective, maybe I wouldn't have pursued the prep this year. But then again, without being too negative, if you haven't been training hard and well during this period, you're not going to be in a good position to prep next year either.
Yeah.
Because this is the time when you're meant to be growing. So if you've had this time off, you've lost a fair bit without being too extreme. So you're going to struggle to get that back before you start prepping again next year.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the competition next year is only going to be it's going to be extreme really, because
that's why I'm a bit annoyed, because everyone that was half decent that was going to compete this year, I don't know. I barely know anyone that's still prepping for this year. So everyone swerved it off. So now they're going to be bringing the pool up next year. So I have to go against everyone there. But you only want to go against the best, really. So
yeah, I suppose. Yeah. And Vic, have you got any cues?
Potatoes or rice?
Does cream of rice count as rice?
No, potatoes or rice. This is supposed to be a quick fire question round.
Sweet potato. I probably prefer sweet potato.
To be fair, a potato you can
even though I eat rice, but I prefer sweet potato.
And you can sort of make cream of rice out of rice.
Yeah, that is a point.
But I only like cream of rice because it's flavoured. So
yeah.
I don't like the plain stuff.
Don't like basmati. See, I was going to say basmati or jasmine.
Jasmine.
Thai jasmine.
Ooh, that was a quick one.
Thai jasmine.
Thai jasmine rice, because that makes the difference. Okay, new question just came in. Hard or soft? Jack's face. Am I talking about a boiled egg? You dirty-minded people.
I was going to say, I don't know anything that's good that's soft. But
soft cheese.
You can't get much done soft. So
yeah. Yeah.
Bagel or crumpet?
Bagels.
Bagel, man, in the microwave.
I don't know, I'm a crumpet.
No.
I'm a crumpet.
No.
The only reason being is gluten-free bagels are shit, whereas gluten-free crumpets are better.
Someone
Anyway.
insulted me by
Surely you're not still committing that crime to bagels.
what the one in the bagel.
Microwave.
You try a gluten-free bagel, and you can tell me what your thoughts are on that, because they are shit.
No, I'm talking about Jack putting them in the microwave.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, you can't do that. That's weird.
That's a crime.
Don't knock it until you've tried it. I don't think you guys understand.
Mate, you're on prep calories. That you're going to do weird things.
A stodgy bagel.
Is that? Well, that's exactly
it's
what.
like it's been freshly baked. Like you could, yeah. I don't. It's like you bite into it and there's magic. You know, there's
It's
love
magic.
there. You know what I mean?
Favorite build. All these questions are coming in now because people are live. No, they're not. I'm joking. Obviously. Favorite build and bake brownie flavor.
Oh.
PB and marshmallow. That's mine.
Oh, to be fair, I've had some good ones. Millionaire, is it Millionaire Shortbread? Billionaire Shortbread?
That's not bad.
That was amazing. Most of them are chocolate based. Anyone that's chocolate based is a
Have you tried the Bounty?
I don't think I have actually.
Oh my god, that's life changing.
I've got 2 defrosting as we speak now because I'm having 2 later. I think it's lemon shortbread.
Lemon cheesecake.
Lemon cheesecake it is, yeah. Lemon cheesecake and Kinder Bueno, I think.
Nice one, yeah. Good choices.
But
good.
like, to be fair, I found a box of the first lot that they ever did, so like years ago. It must have buried in my freezer. The difference in the appearance, like how much they've changed now, like fair play to Matt, like what they're doing there is incredible. Like the designs and the flavors are amazing. He seems to be doing all right during this time as well. So which is good.
I'm having him on the podcast, not this one, but I am.
To talk all things brownie.
To talk all things brownies whilst being in the lockdown, and I'm very excited.
He's got a good shape to him as well.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, that's a
quite
beast.
strong as well.
Yeah.
He's ridiculous. I mean, I've trained with him a couple of times. So he came over to our meetup, didn't he, in the Teen Titan meetup?
Yeah.
So he came to that. I mean, and I trained with him previously as well, in the same gym actually a few years ago. And he's just an absolute beast and a half. He really is. I mean, he can squat some poundage. Like, holy shit.
It's just like the sort of stress and busyness of the business.
Yeah.
Doesn't really let him sort of pursue it.
Yeah.
He was prepping last year.
Yes, he was. And then
I was helping him last year. But then what did he do? He fell off his bike.
I think it was something like that, yeah. Because
he broke his wrist, didn't he?
And then he messed up his hip on one of his squats as well.
Yeah.
So that like put him out for ages.
He telling me about
it. That was going to be his last sort of hurrah because business was really taking off. So he knew he probably couldn't. I can't imagine whisking up brownies at 4% body fat and just being like.
Could you imagine?
And also resisting them as well.
Yeah, but they're macro-friendly. It's fine. They're macro-friendly. He could have had loads of them. Anyway, I think I'm absolutely roasting in my office. If people are watching the YouTube, this is my office, and I am just about fitting in it. It's because it's a normal sized room. I'm just huge.
Whoa.
Boom.
That's front double.
Front double. That's my front double. Side trans. So right, so it has been an absolute pleasure as always, and if you want to ask any of the boys or myself any more questions, then obviously put them down below. We will have some more guests on the next episode of For the Love of Oats, if Jack is still alive and not boiling in his own pit of oats that he's doing in the microwave for like 4 hours.
You just finished it now, Jack.
It took a while to eat, I'm not gonna lie.
Just licked the bowl. Did you not see? He actually licked the bowl.
Good, Jack. Good. Like that.
You know that this is diet prep. So yeah, so you're going to see my face.
I'm still doing full-blown off-season, so.
I know, I'm in off-season. I'm eating so much food. It's horrendous. It's
yeah,
not
you're
horrendous.
probably on about twice as much as me, Vic, which is.
Probably.
which is crazy.
But you know what's really annoying, right? I'm having this massive celiac flare up at the moment. So I've got about 7 ulcers in my mouth, and it's taking me about an hour to eat anything. I had like 2 sweet potato wraps today, and I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to eat this. And it took me about 45 minutes, dipped in soup, so it went all soggy and stuff.
And drink them.
Get the blender out.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Well, I had a blender, but it was an iced coffee, which was yum. So that's what I use my blender for. Iced coffees. Ninja. Right, I'm going. Love you lots. See you on the next episode of For the Love of Oats.
Thank you very much, Jack.
Thank you very much for having me.
Love you lots. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
See you later.